Hey Tracy, thank you so much for being here. Can we start with tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Thank you so much, number one, Danny D, for having me on. And I'm so excited to be in front of your audience today because I think right now is the most important time. My name is Tracy Alston. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm also a mental fitness consultant, and I'm board certified in biofeedback and neurofeedback, which are alternative ways to measure the brain and body's response to stress. I'm a founder of two companies located in Mooresville, North Carolina, New Mentality and Mental Edge Fitness Solutions. And so both of my companies their focus is around mental health and mental fitness. So I'm so thankful to be on your show.
That's awesome, Tracy. And honestly, I'm really grateful that you're here. I want to get your perspective on this because, as we've talked about in the past, I really think that mindset is probably the most important part of this.
Absolutely.
It's all of the tactics, right? Like marketing and all of the tactics, matter. But if business owners who are dealing with this situation aren't able to keep a healthy mindset and kind of keep focused, then none of the other stuff really matters. And the fact is, this is unprecedented. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's kind of devastating for certain businesses. So I really just want to talk to you about that. And so let's kind of start here. So in a time of uncertainty, when there's a lot of things outside of our control, how can business owners kind of stay positive and keep moving forwards?
Yeah, and so in a time like this, right, stress, anxiety, depression, panic, all those things are on the rise. And so I think the first thing we have to do is really begin to normalize that it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel stressed. It's okay to feel confused. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. So number one, you have to give yourself permission to just pause and breathe. Because a lot of times when crisis happens, right, when life happens, not if, your mental fitness will be tested. And I love what you're doing, Danny D. You're talking about survive, pivot, thrive. Right now, we are in the beginning stages of this and we have to survive. So our mental health and our mental fitness has to be the focus. And the first thing that I encourage, not only for myself, but for my clients and our staff, is to choose our focus, right? There's so much information that's out there right now. We're consuming headlines. People are having layoffs, financial crisis, the crisis and the anxiety around not sure if you're going to contract this virus. So there's so much of the external. We have to look internally. And so the first part of this is really beginning to choose our focus. We have to begin to say, what can we control and what we can't control? And so for my clients and for our staff, we're starting with self-care. A lot of times, if you've ever been on an airplane, the very first thing that they say is put your own oxygen mask on first. And the reason that they instruct you to do that is because you can't take care of the people that you're responsible for if you are gasping for air yourself. So the number one thing I want to talk about, Danny D, is helping people choose their focus, which may require them being informed, but also limiting the information that they're consuming if it's not healthy and helpful for your mental health right now. If
Okay,
all you're doing, go ahead.
so that's an awesome topic because I think that is really important as well. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about at what point do we need to limit information because it's not healthy and it's not productive? Do you have any sort of ways we can think about that?
Yeah, I think about it in a sense of setting boundaries and routines like we would in any other normal situation, right? So how much time are we already consuming, whether it's the news or video games or whatever you may be engaged in? I think putting healthy limits for yourself, number one, knowing your stress level. As a business owner, if you're already tasked with maybe having to lay some people off, not sure where the next amount of money is coming in, you are already taking on an exceptional amount of stress. So when you think about your brain and your body's reserves, if it's already on overload from these other things piling up, you may not have that same filter or the availability to sit in front of the screen on the news for about an hour, right? So maybe you need to check in, maybe do a quick alert, 15, 20-minute check in on the news on what's going on. Give yourself permission to walk away, come back maybe 2.5, 3 hours later, check in again. But you have to begin to set a schedule around that. Because if you're just sitting and you're listening and consuming, that means your brain is on overload, which increases your stress.
That's really good perspective, Tracy. So you've mentioned self-care a couple times, and I agree that that's so important. The interesting thing right now is with everybody's routine being changed, right? I don't know anybody whose routine is the same, right? Even people
Right.
who are used to working at home, well, all of a sudden now their kids are at home too. And so how can our audience, business owners, maintain self-care and do the things they need to do to take care of themselves in a situation where everything's different and routines are thrown out of whack? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So you bring up another great point, right? How do I perform at my peak at home right now? Especially if I'm used to being in an office setting, I'm used to being away from everybody, having my downtime, my quiet time, my space to kind of think and clear my head. Now everything is different. And so what you want to begin to do is get up like you normally would. So keeping a consistent routine, waking up, getting dressed as if you were going to work. A lot of times this requires communication to your family and your loved ones that you're getting up to go to work today. Mom, dad's getting up to go to work today. So allow your kids to get dressed in this. Become very creative. As business leaders, we have to be innovative. We have to pivot. We have to know how to adjust. So what you want to do here is get the family together, have a conversation. We're going to continue business as usual in this household. We're going to continue our normalcy as best as we can under the things that we can control. Remember, the external stuff on the outside world, we have no control over right now. Your impact is right where you are. So sit the family down, have a conversation about the new changes that are going to take place in the house. We're going to still wake up at the time we were waking up to get you ready for school. Get your kids dressed. Allow them to participate in this. Get them excited about still having some normalcy. So if you're getting up, getting dressed for work, create a designated space or place for you to mentally zone in and focus. So the more that you can structure your environment to become your new normal, the better you will be. And also give yourself permission to take breaks. So let's say if you were in your working environment, you would have a normal lunch break or a normal 15-minute break. Put those in your schedule. Have your mind, your brain's a muscle. So it's training itself. So you want to begin to train it to create this new safe place for you to lock in, zone in. If you're not used to watching TV throughout the day, don't make this part of your new routine, right? You don't want to pick up any old habits if they were not already there. You have enough stress as is. So the best thing I can tell you here is create a schedule that allows you to wake up as if you were going to work. Allow your family to be involved in this so they know when you're not there from 8 to 5, remember, you're at work. So it's no different than what you would be doing if you were really at work. So creating the mindset for yourself, creating the mindset for your loved ones, I think that's going to be the best way to kind of tackle that.
Yeah, that's really, really good practical advice, Tracy. Okay, so we've mentioned stress a couple times, and obviously stress levels are up for business owners for, kind of obvious reasons, and anxiety and all of that. Do you have any tools or guidance or advice that you can give to business owners to kind of manage the stress and anxiety that unfortunately is kind of inevitable right now?
Yeah, and I think it's important to know too, chronic stress and chronic anxiety shrinks the brain. So a lot of my background and what we do, we look at brain health and we look at physiological health. And chronic stress and chronic anxiety shrinks the brain, which weakens your immune system, which makes you more susceptible to diseases and illnesses. So you really have to, as a business owner, encourage not only self-care and mental fitness for yourself, but this is a really good time to check in with your team, your staff, your employees, and say, you know what? We're going to be, not only are we going to create a marketing plan, kind of like what Danny, you're doing here, it's also good to have a mental health and a mental fitness plan at this time right now, encouraging your team to say, you know what, it's okay to check in with somebody. There's several companies offering telehealth, like my companies, New Mentality, Mental Edge Fitness. We have telehealth services available, remote training for neuro and biofeedback available so that people can also get their mental health needs addressed in the comfort of their own home. So I think as a leader, if you're talking about the importance of taking care of yourself, but if you're also echoing to your team and to your staff and to your clients that I also care about you, and I know this is a very stressful time right now, I want to encourage you to also take care of your mental health and mental fitness. That's going to be a win-win across the board, because the more fit you are, the more fit that your staff and your team will be when you guys bounce back from this. And one of the solutions that I'm giving to my clients, really the best and the easiest and the fastest way to turn on your brain is through your breathing. Learning how to take a deep breath is priceless. It's the first thing that we come in this world doing, and it's the last thing that you will leave this world doing. But it's one of the things that we also can take for granted because it comes so naturally to us. And so what I have developed is a free training course teaching you how to, number one, breathe properly. And number two, there's an app that's guided with you to train, and you can go on a breathing journey with me. And so I want to encourage you guys to go to Tracy.com, that's TracyAlston.com, and click on courses, and you will see the free breathing techniques course and app waiting for you. The app is called Breathe In, Mind On. So I think the very first thing, Danny, with self-care is helping people learn how to self-regulate by getting control of their breathing so that they can breathe life back into their businesses, their families, and their future.
Awesome. Tracy, we had just a tiny little bit of interference here. I think that the signal wasn't awesome. And it was right as you were saying the URL, unfortunately. So just repeat that one more time. How do people get enrolled and access the course?
Absolutely. So you go to TracyAlston.com. That's TracyAlston.com. Click on the courses tab, and you're going to select the course Breathing Techniques and Breathing App. There, you're going to go through a free 15-minute course. It's going to teach you certain breathing styles and techniques. On this free app, you can also set reminders. So remember, it's important to keep a routine. A lot of times self-care gets neglected. So you're going to be able to put yourself on your own calendar. You're going to track your progress. You're going to be able to see your breathing history. And you can also share this with your team. So as a business owner, as you're training and breathing and taking care of your mental fitness, you can encourage your team to do the same thing. You guys can make a nice activity out of self-care together. Community, building community.
So I love it. So let's talk for a minute about kind of the intersection of like physical activity and like physical health and mental health, right? Like a lot of business owners had a routine of going to the gym at some point during their day, right? Like for me, I would go early in the morning. Well, every single gym is closed down, is going to be closed down for the next 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it is. So number one, is it important to find a way to stay active? And can you just kind of talk about the intersection of physical health and mental health?
Yes, it's so, so important that you can't do one without the other. If something's missing and lacking because it's all connected, then you're not really performing at your peak. And so that physical fitness is just as important as your mental fitness there. So a lot of times, yes, these gyms are closed right now, but what I'm seeing is the innovation of our communities, the innovation of our nation. People are having to pivot, right? People are having to go online. So there are several ways that we can still get the physical fitness that we need, because that also turns our brain on. It keeps you going, keeps you motivated. You need to sweat. You need to get moving. If we're sedentary, then that's also not good for our overall health, and it's not good for your performance. So going online, seeking out free solutions for yourself. You can always get on to Netflix. They have those things as well where you can download a class there. So many apps nowadays are available to people so you can train online. Your gym that you were attending may already have a mobile solution in place. Because they want to keep their clients going as well. And so they've gone to an online platform. So not only is looking at mental health important, but your physical fitness, your diet and nutrition. So this is not the time to get around and sit around and eat snacks, right? The more we're at home, we're consuming more food because there's nothing else to do. So that schedule, again, is important. Get yourself into a room, into a space, designate time for your snack, designate time for your lunch, and making sure you are drinking plenty of water. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Water is the best thing that you can do for your body and your brain.
Tracy, this was such... No, go ahead.
Sleep. I know we might be in a rut right now wanting to work, get more hours in. But guys, we have to sleep. Sleep is our refuel. It's our recharge. It's one of the most important things we can do for our overall health and wellness. So making sure that you're giving yourself, remember that schedule. You get yourself a wake up time, but you get yourself a cutoff time, and make sure you stick to it. The more you're training yourself in this way, when things get back to our normal schedule, you'll already be on track and you won't miss a beat.
Tracy, that's awesome. Really, really good practical help. I think super useful. I'm pumped up because I'm going to go apply some of this stuff, and I hope everyone else does too. Really good stuff. Tracy, how can people connect with you, learn more about your businesses, and just stay engaged?
If you guys can visit TracyAlston.com, that's TracyAlston.com. If you're a podcast listener, I do have a podcast called Mental Fitness Matters, so you can download that on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, whatever your listening platform it is there. Also a weekly radio host on WSIC Radio. My radio show is called Mental Fitness Matters, where I'm talking about all matters as it relates to mental fitness. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you are interested in also being a guest on the show and kind of talking about ways that you are bouncing back and staying mentally fit through this crisis. I would love to hear from you. I think people need to hear from leaders, because as we lead, we are also setting the example for our clients, for our families, people. So I'm just thankful and grateful to you, Danny, for what you're putting together for the community.
Thank you so much, Tracy. That's awesome. Well, listen, Tracy, thanks a lot for being here.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you.